It's time for more memes. I have video ideas on my new Discord server, which is connected to my Patreon, and in there someone suggested that I do a meme review of the Discord because there's a Neurospicy Memes channel over on there where everyone just spams a load of memes. We could make 100 of these videos today with just what we've got so far, and it hasn't even been going for a month yet. It's insane, but it's very fun, and I'm very grateful. My wrist just clicked then. Let's see what memes you have in store for me. ADHD is coming off too strong, trying to make interesting conversations. Do you guys ever think about dying? I've spoken about this many times before, how I've kind of maybe like gone too hard on like the deep conversations too early with, you know, people in my life, usually like neurotypical people in my life, and I've maybe given too much personal detail and things like that, and it's like I've kind of waited for them to reciprocate and they have never reciprocated, and I've been like, oh, okay, maybe we aren't close enough to do that just yet. I'd rate that ADHD one like a solid 7 out of 10, you know, 5 is average, so 7 is a good score. T-Rex arms slightly leaning forwards and on tiptoes. More like a raptor pose. I don't know what the leaning forward thing is. Like when I would flap my hands, I'd often kind of do this movement where I'd sort of like lead with my head and like move my head forwards. It would be like, I don't know, I guess maybe it just feels nice. It just like kind of flows through your body. My mom always said that I did that a lot, and then I've noticed when I've seen other autistic children in my life, them doing it as well. What is that? I don't know, it feels nice. I'll just carry on doing it for the rest of the video. Autism out of 10. Drinking water isn't a habit. Feeding myself isn't a habit. Bathing isn't a habit. I spend so much more energy, so much more time, so much more labor just managing to maintain my fucking meat suit. And now you want me to also do taxes on time? Oh, that's reminding me that I have to submit some taxes very, very soon. In fact, they have to be submitted by the time this video is likely to be uploaded, so let's hope that I did that. It does really feel like just keeping yourself healthy and sane is very much a full-time job. I sometimes go on these rants to my mom over voice notes about like all the things I have to do, like list them off and be like, how am I supposed to do all these things? It feels like you could either earn enough money to be able to, you know, maybe one day buy a house and have some sort of security, or you can be a healthy human being who might live a few extra years. Which one do you pick? You have to choose the money most of the time, unfortunately, which I think is why a lot of people end up not being super healthy. It's sad. Hopefully things will change one day. Yeah, that is 10 out of 10 very accurate. I have yet to witness all of your emotions, and I felt I should inquire. This is me thriving. I am currently ecstatic. I am writing this down. I've always felt like I'm quite good at reading people's facial expressions to some extent. I felt like that was a true thing about me because I also felt like I was an empathetic person. But then I've realized, and I know it's a thing that I've always done because sometimes it gets on people's nerves, I'll like if my husband's facial expression changes and he does something different, I'm like, something's changed, and I can recognize that a change has taken place, but I don't always know what it means. I often say things like, what does that face mean? What did you just do with your face? Are you depressed? He's never suffered with any sort of depression in his life, but it's, why'd you look depressed? Anything that is slightly perceived as negative. So I suppose I'm aware of changes in mood sometimes, but not always exactly what they mean. I can usually tell if something's bothering him, but I don't know how much is bothering him. Like, is this a big serious issue that he has, or is he maybe just thinking about something and therefore he's got like a concentration face? I don't really know where we are on that scale sometimes, and I get a bit confused. That guy does look quite cozy, so he may very well be ecstatic. That's also always been a thing with me, like people assuming I'm miserable or unhappy when I'm actually completely fine. I went on a little package holiday to Greece with my parents when I was about 13, and I just read the whole time. Even when we'd go out to lunch together, I'd be sat reading a book at the table while I ate my food. I was just having a great time being able to just read. I used to, you know, spend a lot of my weekends just reading because it was a really great unwinding activity when I was younger, but my mom was like, are you okay? You're not okay. We should have brought your cousin with us because you're not interacting. And it was like a big worry for her, but I was like, no, they're having a good time. I'll give that a 6 out of 10. That's very accurate. I'm pulling these reviews out of my palm. I don't know how to review memes. How to respond to DMs while neurodivergent. Step 1, open DM. Step 2, become overwhelmed. Step 3, decide to come back to it later. Step 4, oh shit, it's 3 weeks later and you did not come back to it. Oh, this is accurate. Apologies if I've done this with your message. I get sent a lot of really, really nice emails and a lot of people sharing, you know, really personal, deep things, and I do read them, but I do appreciate it. And some people have even written out a response and then I've been like, I'm not sure if that's exactly how I want to word that, so I'm just going to save that in drafts and then I'll come back to it, and then I don't come back to it, and then like months and months have gone by. Often when I do this with friends and stuff, like I know a lot of people get to a point where they're like, oh, I can't reply now, it's too awkward. I'm just like, no, here's the reply 6 months later. I failed to feel that kind of embarrassment. I'm just like, here you go. I want to read things and I'm intrigued, and then I read it and I'm like, ooh. And sometimes like the more I want to reply, the more I can feel the pressure to reply, and then it's like, I don't know what it is about the Discord, though. I just feel pretty comfortable. It feels like a very chill, warm place. I don't know, it's everything that I hoped it was going to be, but I'm like really surprised that it's everything I hoped it was going to be. If you ever need me, I'm always just 3 missed calls and 4 text messages away. My dad would love this one. He can never get hold of me, but then I can never get hold of him either. He always turns his phone off. Like, who does that? Who actually turns their phone off? Not on silent, just off. So I don't know, he can't really complain. I'm gonna give that a 10 out of 10. I've had to have a serious word with my letting agent recently because they keep calling me about things, and I'm like, I respond better by email. You're more likely to get a quicker response by email. Like, this is the problem. There's still a lot of industries who kind of assume that a phone call gets things solved more quickly, and it's like, not if you're communicating with me, no. And I also just like having a written trail. Like, if I am on the phone, I'm very kind of in masking fawning mode, and also in mode let's get off the phone as quickly as we can. I'm trying to get better at it as I get older, but I'll just be like, yes, oh, that's great, that's wonderful. Like, it's unlikely if I don't understand what someone says that I'm gonna think, oh, you need to ask them to repeat that because that's important information. I'm just very conscious about how I'm coming across, and then once the phone call is ended, I'm like, oh no, I don't know what they meant, I don't know what they said. And then luckily with Google, like, if you have like a vague idea of what someone said, you can search it and sometimes find out. I don't know what people did before the internet. Just type in what you misheard and try and piece it together. I write notes constantly while I'm on the phone, and then I look at them afterwards and I just write anything a person says. If they're like, yeah, okay, I'll write down, yeah, okay. And I just have this like scroll at the end to try and have some record of what happened so I can process it when I'm out of the moment, because in the moment it's just so much and so overwhelming. So I don't know, that might be useful advice. Have a piece of scrap paper that you can just scroll onto during the phone call, and then maybe you'll absentmindedly you might jot down important things. I just feel like email is just so much better for communication. I don't understand it, and I can't wait for phone calls to disappear because they probably will. I have an uncle who responds to text messages after 2 months. No one knows where he lives exactly, and he shows up when he wants to. He's one of my role models. I have 2 uncles like that. I'll give that one an 8 out of 10 in honor of my lovely uncles who may never reply to your text message and will definitely only show up when they want to. I don't actually exist, so if you've ever met me, it was a prank. That's kind of like when you met someone while you were masking, you were like, hey, that wasn't me, just banter. That's one of the tricky things about kind of like coming out as autistic and telling people in your life that you're autistic, because you kind of don't want to be like, surprise, I've been lying to you about my identity the whole time, because that isn't really what it is, but I worry that people are gonna kind of interpret it that way. Sometimes I have the urge to just like move to another country where nobody knows me and just start again. I'd probably take Lewis and my son with me, probably. Let's have a blank slate. Maybe this time I can be the perfect functioning human being. But no. Since my autism diagnosis, I'm not really thinking like that anymore, but that is how I felt in the past a lot of the time. 6 out of 10, above average. I am not an early bird or a night owl. I am some form of permanently exhausted pigeon. I've seen that before, but that artwork looks cute. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I am probably best described as a night owl, but I have to be up early for my son often. Luckily, he has always been a pretty good sleeper and a pretty good liar-inner. And also I have a husband who's very, very kind and actually parents. Who would have thought it? The real alpha male. Yeah, it's just a bit difficult when you always have the urge to stay up late, but then you have reasons why you have to wake up early. You know, this is why autistic people and jobs don't always gel. I've noticed there are a lot of other night owls in the Discord. I don't know if it is so much being a night owl. I kind of think it is. I also get like a burst of energy. Maybe starts around like 6-7 p.m. and then continues for as long as I will stay awake for. And I think it's also just like kind of to do with the monotropism, that theory of autism. You know, when you get locked into doing something, it's a huge transition to have to drag yourself away and do all the steps involved in getting into bed, and then actually get into bed and then try and switch into sleeping mode. And then I equally find it difficult to get out of bed then for the same reasons, even when I've had more than enough sleep. Allow me to slip into something more comfortable, completely detach myself from reality. That was me when I was small and I used to just flap my hands walking around the edge of the playground, completely detached from reality, making up stories in my head and using like the people I could see on the playground as characters and immersed in my own little world. That's kind of how it felt, you know, that little star person. That was it. Gliding away from the fact that I have to be at school all day against my will. I'm gonna give that one a 7. How do I tell my nervous system that I am not being hunted for sport? I like the way that's written out. There is nothing I could ever say to make my nervous system believe that. I really just wish I could turn my nervous system off. During social interactions so much, it just puts up so many walls that I can't get past, and it's so frustrating, and it just stops me from making proper connections with people. It's really frustrating. Would be great if there was a way to do that without alcohol, because yeah, that doesn't always lead to perfect social interactions either for other reasons. I like that one a lot. That's a 7 as well. Actual photo of how well I'm keeping it together right now. No, that feels like me right now. Honestly, I'm so tired today. I'm so tired. Staying up too late in the Discord, everyone. I'm also just, I don't know, my sleeping routine's gone a bit wonky recently. There's just been a lot. There's been a lot to do, a lot going on. There was some chat. I wanted to reply to people, but I can't remember which channel it is because everything always goes off the rails. It's an easygoing place. The topics meander all over the place and then you can't remember where you read something, but someone was talking about me and my partner being like superheroes, being able to do all this stuff while having a child as well. And if you could see the state of my home right now, I carefully choose the corners that you see, can I just say that? Ooh. And the taxes situation as well. I feel a lot like that box. I really identify with that box. I'm gonna give that a 8, I think, based on my current life stage. Me lives in an extremely messy home filled with piles of clutter. Also me. Oh, you need a pencil sharpener. There's a green one under the basement stairs inside a cardboard box wrapped in a Target bag that's underneath the folding chairs in the second glitter from the left. I feel like this is kind of me, like after my husband's like, oh, where did I leave my jacket? And I feel like I just instantly get a picture of exactly where things are in the house, even if it's like obscure, like somewhere my brain has like filed away that information. I'm like, yes. Most of the time, I do like to feel like I know where everything is in my house. As I say, at the moment, we're kind of in disarray, so that isn't exactly the case. I'm not sure if I would be able to tell you where you can find a pencil sharpener. Probably in the top of the chest of drawers over there, I think, inside the little math set, which I imagine would be on the right, maybe underneath the printer paper. There's a duster in there at the moment that my husband put in there and it doesn't go there, and that's bothering me, but that's a problem for another day. And one day if I get time to do the dusting again, I will get that out of there. Relatable, very relatable. 7 out of 10. Again, just saw a TikTok that said, are you actually relaxing or are you just shutting down and disassociating? And I've never felt so targeted. I have PMDD, which a lot of neurodivergent people do, so around my period I tend to have particularly 2 days. I have kind of a week where I'm not quite myself. I certainly get like stuck scrolling in a way that I don't normally, just like things that I don't care about, and I'm just kind of like zombified and I just can't stop going down, 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 and that certainly does not feel relaxing in any way at all. So I think that's what this is talking about. It's just like, oh, being in my brain right now is not a fun time. I'll give that one a 6. Oh no, okay, so young boys with ADHD and autism, psychiatrists, come here. And then girls with ADHD autism drowning. And then adults with ADHD autism. We're just skeletons at the bottom of the lake. Yeah, you just feel kind of like abandoned and forgotten. Nobody was acknowledging your issues. Nobody was even looking. I do wonder, when I was walking around the playground flapping my hands in nursery, did nobody look and think, is she okay? And like when I see my sports day clips that I put in a lot of videos, like was nobody looking and thinking, is she okay? I got a lot of accommodations. Like I was allowed to go home for lunch and eat my buttered pasta with my mum for a while. Nobody else had that. You know, did people not think like, why does she need this? I don't know. I think people probably saw me as a sensitive, shy person. I guess you kind of have to remember how stigmatized it was, and maybe they saw that I wasn't just bad at everything, that I was good at some things. Like I was always good at reading and things like that, and it's like they don't want to brand me with some sort of label. I guess no teacher wanted to really approach my mom and be like, I think there's something wrong with your child, because that would have been the implication. Yeah, it was a bit weird. Like I got given a little crumbs of accommodation here and there, but there was always a kind of underlying feeling of like, this is just temporary, you need to actually sort this out, we'll give you this little bit of help, and then you need to pull yourself together kind of thing. The Discord is just all these like skeletons at the bottom of the lake conversing together, sharing memes. I really like that one. I'm gonna give that an 8. My undiagnosed autism, my mom's undiagnosed autism, my dad's undiagnosed autism. That's me with other family members. And it's just funny how people can talk to you like with a straight face about your diagnosis and your problems and then like sometimes not see it in themselves. And it's like, mate. There's a reason why we have a lot of similarities. Maybe think on that a little bit. No, I do think discovering that you're autistic later in life is kind of an exhausting process that requires a lot of thinking, a lot of unpacking, and a lot of kind of reframing things that you've been taught. I understand if there are people who don't have room in their lives for that discovery. Give that a 6. The PINGU one. Oh my gosh, I used to love PINGU so much. I still think there's something really satisfying about watching it. It's so expensive, but I'd love to go to Santorini one day, but I don't think I could ever justify to myself spending that much money. Some of the hotels there, they look like PINGU igloos. That's why I really want to stay there, I think, because it just looks so cute. I want to live in a little PINGU igloo, please. How my depressed ass looks every single day trying to rewire my neural pathways by saying nice things about myself. There's a heart with glitter and stuff. I feel for you, PINGU, I do. I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10 for PINGU, I think. I've spoken about it before, I think in my video of like tips for PDAs, but I find all that self-love stuff just like, oh, I can't do it. I need to be neutral about myself. I think that is, you know, kind of in some ways more sane. I don't need to think I'm the greatest thing on earth. I just need to think I am a thing on earth who deserves to be here, I suppose. I prefer to not take criticism too personally and also not take compliments too personally and just kind of stay. I'm not a perfect being, but I am a being. If I tell myself I'm the most beautiful, wonderful person, prompts your brain to instantly like throw a load of insults at you. That's immediately what comes to my head, immediate like denial of that fact, where if I just think I am a human, can't really dispute that, you know? And if I notice that I'm thinking something bad about myself, I go, oh, thanks, brain. That's interesting that you thought that about me. And it just feels nice to acknowledge that was a thought rather than, you know, that was a truth. It is currently Tuesday and someone has posted Tuesday, the day you realize nothing can stop you because you are a magic skeleton packed with meat and animated with electricity and imagination. You have a cave in your face full of sharp bones and 5 tentacles at the end of each arm. You can do anything, magic skeleton. No, this is amazing. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. I love this one. I love that it's Tuesday. I'm probably going to post this on a Thursday, I think, but it could be the same. You can swap it out for Thursday and it still works. You are still a magic skeleton on Thursday. Oh my gosh. I just love that. I love that so much. That's a 9 out of 10. I love that. That's the kind of self-love that I can really get behind. I'll only be kind to myself if it's a joke. Okay, this is not to do with autism at all. As you can see, these Discord channels go off the rails, but I really hated Crocs. Does anyone here wear Crocs? Does anybody like Crocs? Why are they still a thing? They were like a fad trend, basically. In like what year? What year was my sister born? Because I feel like it was around them that I was wearing them. In about like 2006, 2007-ish, wasn't it? I don't know. They were a big thing and everyone had to have them and you had to have the charms on them. And now that they're like still a thing. There's like rap songs about Crocs, you know? I just felt like they weren't gonna stick around for this long. And I haven't worn them for a long time. My son has a pair of Crocs, which he loves. But I had this white pair of Crocs, which seems like a bad choice of color. And I had them for when I got dragged on this camping trip, which was probably the worst week of my life. But that's the story for another day. I would trip over all the time because they have that like funny toe shape. I don't know. They're not dyspraxia friendly, I feel. Maybe other people disagree and find them like the most comfy things on earth. I haven't worn one since about, 2007. So I don't know. I want to know, neurodivergent people, please, in the comments, rate Crocs for me. I don't know how to rate that one, but I'll rate Crocs. Probably at the moment, how I feel about them is probably a 3 out of 10. But I appreciate that they're very easy to just slip on and go. My inner self preparing my corporeal husk to be perceived in daylight. Brackets going grocery shopping. This is me trying to do my makeup in the morning. I will not leave the house. I would like to take the bins out. Like, I won't leave the house unless I have makeup on. Because I don't want people to see me looking like this monster, you know? I want everybody to think I'm a beautiful unicorn with sparkly strands in my hair. That's how I feel. Yeah, that's very relatable. I'm gonna give that one a 7. After giving it careful thought, I have decided to become worse. It does feel like that a little bit sometimes. It's like, well, things are not working and I'm trying really hard. So maybe we should stop trying. This just makes me think of when I'm like having a really bad day and sensory things are really, really getting to me. I was feeling it a little bit this morning. My husband was wearing his big coat, even though he was inside. He didn't need his big coat. If he was cold, he could have put on a dressing gown or some sort of fleece, but he kept on this big coat, and every time he moves, it's like, and I was like, Lewis, I just want to let you know that is driving me insane. Could you please change into your fleece? And then there was a long list of reasons why he couldn't possibly change into his fleece, and I had to continue to endure this outside coat inside. I myself have gotten rid of many coats because they are too noisy. I'm gonna rate the crazy dog eyes. I'm gonna give you a 7. I woke up this morning determined to do the laundry, clean the house and exercise, but that was 4 hours ago when I was young and full of dreams. Oh, it's the worst how optimistic you can be with a to-do list, and when you sit and you think about how many hours are actually in a day, how many hours are you actually awake for in a day, and it's huge. 2 hours sounds like a lot of time to spend on something, and you have a lot of 2-hour slots in your day, but there just is a lot to do when you're time blind. Like, I'm very time blind, a lot of neurodivergent people are. It can be really, really difficult to accurately assess how much can be done. You know, I can delude myself into thinking, only takes me 20 minutes to do my makeup, but that's probably like the shortest amount of time it's ever taken me ever, and I'm just like, only takes me 20 minutes, and that's what kind of stays burnt to my brain, but that's not correct. Yeah, then we can end up, you know, having ridiculous expectations of ourselves because we have such a warped sense of, you know, what's possible, and also what's possible just for our energy levels as well. I don't know, future you just always seems like Snow White, you know, she's just singing and sweeping up and the animals are helping her get everything done, but you in the moment, you can accept, no, this is gonna be difficult, but you in the future, it's like, they'll have their shit together. Tomorrow will be the day when I'm able to rise above, and it's just never quite there. I'll give that one a 6. What time did you go to bed last night? Me, early. Why? Oh no. It's kind of frustrating though, like how waking up early is seen as like the peak productive, morally good person, and then staying up late is like, you know, being naughty. But like, no, waking up at 4 or 5 a.m, that's just mega productive, even though you're gonna crash like hell at 2 p.m. But like staying up late, oh no, not a good plan. I kind of feel like that now. I feel like I'm on my way to that. I woke up this morning with like a sore throat down one side. I'm like, yeah, my immune system's probably not super happy right now. That gets a 7 as well. And then we've got some Comic Sans, so it's a good day. It's a good day. Are you made of gold, titanium, sulfur, and carbon? Because you are autistic. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's getting a 9. I can't. That is magical. Like all these family members that you have, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your grandparents, maybe it's your aunts and uncles, or whoever it is, get on WhatsApp, send this on to them now, and they will finally understand. They will finally see that they are indeed autistic. They have all the right elements. Me trying to fit in with the cool kids. Is that a possum? I don't know what that is. Oh, that cat looks very disinterested, but we all know that all cats are autistic as well. So give that one a 6. The horrors persist, but so do the little treats. That is one very pretty skeleton. I also love that one where it's like, the horrors persist, but so do I, and it's like a hamster in like a Barbie car. I actually had a hamster, kind of, unfortunately. I don't love the idea of animals in cages, but it was a hamster that I adopted from someone else at school who wasn't keeping the hamster anymore. She used to run around my room sometimes, and then she hid inside my Barbie car and we couldn't find her for ages, and she was just like curled up underneath the seat of one of the cars. She just like tucked herself in under one of the car seats. My parents were like, she's trying to hijack the car. She was a very sweet hamster. She was very nice. Oh, this one's good. Suddenly noticing that you're stimming and it says stop so you don't feel like you're faking it, or keep stimming. Yes, I think that's so true. When you're first realizing that you're autistic, you like suddenly become aware of loads of things that you do, and then it's like, did I do that before, or am I pretending to be autistic now? And then when you're used to masking and analyzing your behavior and making sure that you do things in a certain way, you can maybe like start to try and unmask a bit, and so like bring more stimming into your life. But then that starts to feel kind of like masking another way, like you're being very conscious of what you do, and therefore you're making yourself stim, and that feels very similar to making yourself not stim, like you're controlling your behavior, and it's like you're now masking as an autistic person, and you just kind of feel like you don't know how to just be anymore, like, as yourself, because you've trained yourself to behave in one way, and to untrain yourself to behave that way is very difficult, and it just feels like training yourself in a different direction. And I don't know, it's just really confusing and really difficult. I think this is super relatable. Yeah, it's like when I was told when I went into my appointment for my diagnosis, you don't have to make eye contact with me if you don't want to, and it was like, phew, amazing, great, I can stare at a fixed spot, I'll be able to concentrate on what I'm actually saying and what you're saying and things like that. But then I'm so ingrained to be so conscious of eye contact, so then I was like this internal commentary, like, you're not looking at him, okay, now you are looking at him. And then it was like, if you don't look at him the whole time, then it might look a bit like you're just pretending to be autistic, and he'll be watching your behavior and how you act. And so it just felt like this weird mix, and then you just go back to your default of wanting to make eye contact with somebody, and it was just, I don't know, it was difficult to just be chill. I mean, obviously in a social situation I never really feel very chill. It's very hard to just suddenly switch over to just being comfortable, letting yourself do things that you've like screamed at yourself internally not to do since you were about at least like 6-7 years old, if not younger, you know. And then obviously you have all the imposter syndrome, and I don't know, it's a tricky time. Memes help. Memes definitely help. There's only 4 days left to get your antisocial snail badge, so if you do want to join my Patreon and the Discord, which is connected to the Patreon, as I said, I will leave links to the video explaining what it is and doing a tour of it so you can check it all out. But yeah, you only have 4 days. If you join the first tier, you get a round button badge that has like a purple background with the same snail on it. If you join the second tier, you get the wooden one that I'm wearing today. If you join the third tier, you can have both badges as well, but you just have to do it before the 12th of November. And there are ongoing things as well on the Patreon. If you're watching this in the future, there are also 2 exclusive videos every month on the lowest tier, and then a bunch more stuff on that tier, and then all the other tiers as well. There's lots of tiers and there's lots of stuff on the tiers. If you want to see another memes video, the last one I did was Autistics Choose Your Pasta. If you're an autistic person who likes pasta, you may want to go over there and select your pasta. Are you a spaghetti person? Are you a bow tie pasta person? Are you a that weird wheel shaped pasta person? Let me know in the comments of that video. Thank you everyone. I don't know, my life's really weird now.